Hello, hello, hello! Welcome back. Long time no see. Sorry, school started back again and some of the classes are kind of scary. Okay, so today we're going to be working with procedural textures in Blender. So I'm going to start off with a wooden plank texture using a couple of techniques I've learned over time. So yeah, let's get started. So first of all, I want to disable this overlay, just so I don't have those little things in the way. Make sure to name your texture something you can recognize. As always, I always add something silly to my name, wood planky. And right now I'm going to just turn off the principal BSDF. That way I don't have to worry about like shine and reflection and all this other weird stuff getting in the way while I try to work on the colors. So what we're going to need is Shift A, brick texture. And we're going to turn this into wood planks. Now, what we need to do to make these look more like planks than bricks, let's go down to brick width and scale it up. I'm going to put it at 2.1. That way they're somewhat long, but they're not like whoop. What I'm also going to do is decrease the mortar size to, I think, 0.5. That way you can still kind of see it, but it's not like huge. Also, for the smoothness, I'm actually going to add a noise texture. It's not going to be super noticeable, but it does add a little bit if we increase the scale. Yeah. It does add a little bit of this detail kind of to it. Just turn it down. I want it to be like just subtle. Yeah. See? That way it's not perfect because wood's organic. And there's probably going to be a little bit of like squiggles. Okay, so there's two ways to make the wood plank part. We will start with the wave texture. So using wave texture, we can make a pretty cool wood effect. So our lines are going the wrong way. We can simply go to this X here and change it to Y. You'll also want to increase this. I found that 50 for scale is pretty good. You're also going to want to go ahead and add a texture coordinate or mapping. You can just drag out and type these, or you can use Node Wrangler. Doesn't really matter which way. We need this mapping node for something. So what we're going to do is for detail scale, I'm going to put in 4.9. And for roughness, I think it went down. Okay, now that detail, let's go up to, and just take that back. Okay, for distortion, we need to take this up a bit. So I think about 2.3. This gives us this nice squiggle effect, but this doesn't really look woody. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to stretch out these squiggles just a little bit. And how we do that is we're going to decrease the X scale to 0.1. Wispy woods. And now we have this really cool looking kind of wispiness. If we increase the distortion a little bit more, that looks pretty cool, doesn't it? So, I'm gonna go with 4.2. That way we get a nice squiggle, but it's still pretty straight. And it has these little things you see in wood planks where it's like little blotchy spots. That's pretty cool. So that's technique 1 for wood. It's a little stylized, more organic. If I disconnect and drag out, the next one is using a noise texture. Just increase the scale so we can see it. gonna go ahead and add these. But what we really only need is this texture coordinate and a separate X, Y, Z. And I'm gonna plug in the Y. Look, lines! So, you can do whatever you want with these. It's not gonna change too much. Although if you do the distortion, that does make them like either noticeable or a little bit more blurry. I'm doing it here. So yeah, and then that's it. It's pretty cool. Just change the little things. There. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna color these. So I'm just gonna do a color ramp. Take out. Change this to a brown. Change this to a brown. What you can do for this noise one is I think if you pump up this one a little bit, the darker, it kind of gives a little bit more contrasty. Helps it stand out a bit. And then I'm gonna add a color ramp over here. Color ramp. I'm gonna make this one brown and brown. Oh, let's see what happens if I plug these both in. Oh wow, it's merging them. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to choose one, I think, of these styles. So you can either go with the more stylized or the very straight one. I think I'm gonna go with the stylized. Ah, I've done a bad. Go here. Go here. Go here. And then what you want to do for color 2 is take this, take it to mix, and then just give it a little other color. I think I'm gonna lighten these just a bit. Yeah, that looks good. And then for this, you're gonna want to, I think I'm gonna choose the darkest color, and then I'm gonna just make it darker. You could always just take this and then like plug it into a noise. But yeah, that's our wood. And then now you can add it back to the principal if you want. You can do the principled ESDF. And then you can just like take this for like the roughness. Weird. I think I'll move that to like this. So you can just kind of mess around. I think the coolest would be if you go down here to type in bump. Take this, type in bump, put it into height, and then plug it into normal. And see what that does. Wow, that looks cool. Although which you're probably gonna that's cool, but it also forgets this, so what you want to probably do is take this factor and plug that in down there. And I think that looks pretty cool. It's kind of creating this artificialness. Gives it a little more pop. And yeah. That is procedural wood flooring. Yes, fancy. Now let's try something else. Let's make some sand or dunes per se. So I'm just gonna take that out, drag, and let's grab another wave. Wave. texture. Pop it in. That's pretty cool. But let's go to X and switch it to diagonal. Let's also increase distortion, increase detail, decrease scale. Add a color ramp. I'm just kind of messing with it. Okay. Yep. So if we quickly just turn this to yellows. That kind of looks like a cool dune. So I'm just going to do bloop. And I'm going to duplicate it and drag it up. Actually, I don't think we need this for the bottom one. We just need to make sure that this other layer is going to be offset. So if I grab this again, and do phase offset. I'm just kind of messing around here right now, seeing the best way to do this. There. That looks kind of cool, doesn't it? Let me just turn this down a little bit. Sand. Sand. Okay. Okay, so I'll just tell you what happened because I was kind of working on this. So for the base level sand, we just have a color ramp and a wave texture. That kind of looks sandy, like little sandy dunes. It has a scale 1.5. It has some distortion applied. Detail is at 6. Detail roughness is at like half of 1 scale. And no phase offset. But what we did was we added to it another one that looks like this. It has like this shadow area and this brighter area. This is going to be like the highlight or where the light is artificially hitting the thing, the side. And we used a phase offset to make sure it's on the brighter half. So you got the shadow that would be created by the dune, the light hitting the side of the dune that's facing the sun, where you can see the tip, where I guess the light's bouncing back, and then when there's like no light again. What I can do is I can do color ramp, add a color ramp, pop it in. Now we can see what it looks like. And then now we can do a principled BSDF for the base color. And now we can drag down here for bump again, height, normal, and pop it in. Woo! Woo! Okay, what you're going to want to do is probably you're going to want to turn down strength. Good bit. Now it has some artificial depth to it. And that's pretty cool. So yeah, there's sand. So sorry sand was a little chaotic. But yeah, that's the base sand. It's just this. This is the extra fancy. Turns out we didn't need this mapping because I forgot about phase offset, so turns out we don't need any of these. Goodbye. And I don't believe it matters which order this is in because it's an add. So if you want to clean up, you can. And yeah, there you go. Sand. After the wood and the sand, we're going to do some very simple ones that will just be helpful to know. So first we're going to do gingham, or the picnic table fabric. So we're going to need a wave, texture. We're going to need a color ramp. And we're going to need to set it to constant. Grab the white and set it to 0.5 and plug it. We're going to need to duplicate this and change this from X to Y. Now before we do anything, I would recommend adding a value node. Set it to 5. That way whenever you scale it, you can just scale it all together to keep it as gingham. Because if you scale them differently, it starts not looking like the fabric. So we're going to need a mix A and a mix B. And then we're just going to need to, ta-da! That's gingham fabric, or picnic table fabric. So yeah, you can mess with the colors, you can mess with the scale. Yep. Okay, now that we have that, I can just disconnect it, drag off. What we're going to need is a Voronoi, and that's not a Voronoi. Voronoi. Okay. Plug it into this, type in greater than, and then plug it. Turn randomness down. And put it, let's see, I think distance to edge was, woo! Okay, that looks cool, but, oh, it was supposed to be less than, I think. Change it back to F1. Oh, here we go. So, now we have stars at 0.8. We have big dots, and then we have polka dots. Of course, if you increase the randomness, you get all sorts of weirdness, but there. So all you need for the basic polka dots and basic star things is a Voronoi texture and a less than. And all you need for picnic fabric is a value and basically two of the exact same wave and color ramps, but different directions. And yeah, I think that's it.